What's going on, everybody? My name is Adam. Welcome to Sanctify Studios, where I like to create and examine content with a sanctifying biblical view. I've been focusing heavily on reacting to Christian music lately because I really want to highlight those artists who are being intentional about creating sanctifying and biblical content. But I've also been doing interviews on my podcast, Sanctify Radio, and I'll be producing music out of this studio for things like my band, Classic Disaster, and other projects in the future. So if that's something that you're interested in, then you can do me a huge favor. You can leave this video a thumbs up, you can hit the subscribe button, and you can hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when new videos arrive. And go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know who you are and what bands you want to see on this page. With all that being said, I hope you enjoy this video. Let's go ahead and check out the brand new Project 86 song, 0 is Greater Than 1. But before we do that, if you haven't seen my previous reaction to their first single, METROPOLIS, or you haven't gone to Project 86's page and seen the music video for METROPOLIS, go and do that now, because in the comment section of my previous reaction, I found out that there's a lot more to this album and a lot more to that song and this story that meets the eye. When I first saw the name METROPOLIS, the first thing I thought of was, of course, Meta and Metropolis. And when I think of Metropolis, I think of like comic books, DC, Superman, right? Metropolis, where Superman's from. So I really didn't think that there was anything to look up there. I didn't think that there was anything to dig into there. But what I found out from someone who commented on my last reaction is that Metropolis is actually a movie that came out years ago in 1927. It was a black and white silent movie, came out in Germany, and it actually does look exactly like what Metropolis is depicting and picturing. The movie Metropolis, I dug a little bit into the premise and the movie and some of the history of the movie and stuff. The premise is that there's a lower classman and an upperclassman, and the lower classmen are all slaves to working and slaves to this machine. They have to upkeep the lifestyle of the upperclassmen, but the upperclassmen are worshiping the machines because it provides them this lifestyle, it provides them the means to be able to live this way, and they're separated. They don't ever intermingle, but then there's this one guy who feels bad about what he sees, and he feels like he needs to bring them together and basically become a mediator between what the movie would say later on. A mediator between the head and the hands is the heart, and we needed to bring a heart into this division between the lower and the upper class. And so there's themes of like bringing in human consciousness into a robot. There's themes of becoming so a part of the machine that you start acting like a robot. You start becoming a part of this machine. It's so crazy. I encourage you to go look it up. Metropolis, 1927. And what's really cool is that this black and white movie has gone through the ringer and has been cut into smaller versions. It's been like rearranged by America to be all about the lower classmen. It's so crazy. Like this is what Metropolis is talking about a little bit. Like you get to rewrite history. You get to rewrite the narrative. And that's exactly what they did with this black and white movie. They rewrote the narrative. So it was no longer about the lower classmen and the upperclassmen being slaves to machines. It was about the lower classmen were the ones who were responsible for everything and causing their own destruction, which is crazy. Like that sucks that they changed the message of the movie for that. And it wasn't until I think like 2010. It wasn't until 2010 that they finally found the full version of this movie and all the footage of this movie and were able to piece together what it was actually trying to talk about. So I think that that's crazy, a little piece of history. It's probably something Andrew Schwab knew. And I think that those themes are there in Metropolis, but also in this album where you've got all these people, and it's not a physical machine this time. It's not a physical robot, but it's this digital thing. It's this digital upload where we get to bring our human consciousness into this digital drive, all for the sake of unity, all for the sake of keeping the system going, all for the sake of just creating peace. And I think it's crazy. I think that if that's the case, Andrew Schwab, you are a genius. And I love that that's intertwined in the music here. And so I'm really, really looking forward to 0 is Greater Than 1 here, because just at face value, knowing all of that about Metropolis and Metropolis, the movie, it kind of makes it feel like, you know, 0 and 1 are binary numbers, right? So it's the zeros and ones. And so 0 can either be off or false, and 1 can either be on or true. And so what this is kind of saying is that, like, just being off is better than being on. Just turning your mind off is better than having it on. Or it could also mean that the lie is better than the truth. Living a lie, believing in the lie is better than believing what the truth is. So already, I think that this is going to be an epic song. So let's go ahead and check it out. Here is 0 is Greater Than 1 by Project 86. Getting the pictures of Earth again. Still building up, I love it. Oh man, this guitar sounds great, these guitars. Woo! Crazy. Oh man. Command, control, delete, just like a computer. That's crazy. Woo. Ooh, that was really cool. We're seeing a timeline here. Oh my God. Love how big this feels right here. Those are some great lyrics. This is so cool. We're seeing the process, I think, right now of studying humanity. Oh man.
You still can't see the things that I have been building. Strings of machines that stretch across the centuries. To sew your eyelids shut in the name of progress.
Wow.
Bills on the back of the myth of your consequence. Installed
oh man.
Control, perception through fear and spin. Delete, discredit the voice of deceit. Command, control and delete. Governments install the self-control, perception through fear and spin.
Vision transfer.
Delete, discredit the voice of deceit.
song is so cool. Yo, that is deep. That is some deep, deep stuff right there. So that is what we were seeing. We were seeing how this little robot thing was going inside of the human dude with the awesome haircut, and I think he had a bunch of tattoos on him. And he was having the humanity taken out of him. And that's so crazy. And again, we see those same themes of like command, control, delete, discredit. We saw a timeline there. We saw the virus symbols there. So obviously this is relating a lot to what we all went through 2020, 2021 with the coronavirus, and how anybody who was speaking against the system, anybody who was speaking against the norm and what the upper class was saying, you were discredited. You were commanded, let me see the line of everything. You were commanded to not speak. You were controlled, so deplatformed, or you were prevented from being platformed, or you were controlled by maybe your employers to say threaten you being fired or whatever. And then if you didn't comply, well, then you were deleted. You were just taken out of the equation altogether, completely deplatformed, fired from your job, silenced, your voice, took you off of anything that would allow you to be able to go on and speak honestly what we know now is the truth. But yeah, and then discredit, right? Discredit. And now that they're not here, now that they're not able to defend themselves, now you get to discredit them. And I don't want to say this only to relate to what the coronavirus was and all that stuff, because it honestly happens everywhere. It happens in business. It happens in our churches. You guys know that this is a Christian page. And so in our churches, we do the same thing. We do the same thing. Church leadership is not doing what the Bible says they're supposed to be doing, or you get something like a scandal come up and someone finds out and they want to call it out. And then what does leadership do? Command them to stay silent, control them, take them out of ministries, take them out of leadership positions, and then delete and discredit. Oh, they were just trying to, as we saw with a lot of these bigger churches like Hillsong and other big churches. Oh, they're just trying to fight against the name of God, and they're just trying to bring us down, and they're just trying to attack the church and all these things, right? You discredit them. You just make it seem like it's all stuff that can just get swept under the rug. No. They make it seem like, again, 0 is greater than 1. They make it seem like the lie is better than the truth. It's better to just continue in the lie than it is to call out the truth, because the truth is messy. The truth means that we may not be in a good position. The truth means that we may have to have accountability, that we may have to take people out of leadership. It means that there are going to be some changes that need to be made. But that's humanity. That's a part of humanity. That is what is in the Bible, all the way from the Old Testament all the way to the New Testament, right? Like that is just being human. We have to keep ourselves accountable. We have to fight for truth and not just believe in the lie. But in the video, we see that 0 is greater than 1. You get these people who are in white, and then the people who are in orange. And I really do think that orange is humanity. Orange is the color for truth and humanity and real. Like, this is what is actually real and authentic and true. And it's better to just say, we're going to do away with whatever you believe. We're going to do away with whatever you think. We're going to do away with whatever your humanity is, because you need to become a part of the system. You need to be controlled, command, controlled, deleted, and discredited if you aren't willing to become one of us. And again, bringing it back to the iRobot theme, right? One of us. My logic is undeniable, right? Like it's that same kind of theme where you don't get to fight against it. You don't get to say anything against it. The logic is undeniable. It doesn't matter what the truth is. My logic is undeniable. The lie is better than the truth. Man, some crazy stuff. And you know what, too? I want to point out that in this imagery here, we're seeing a lot of color, right? We're seeing the orange and the white, and we're seeing a bunch of other stuff. And I don't even know if that's it. I don't know if that's the only colors here that we're meant to focus on, or if there's even more that that we need to be able to look at. Maybe other colors mean other things, and I'm just not catching it yet. But the use of color is also something that was in that movie Metropolis, because the workers were in a darker color and the business people were in a darker color, showing that they were at different ends of the system, but they were still all a part of the system. And the main character was this guy dressed in white. He had more color to him, showing that he was the one who was going to bring those two sides together. So really, really crazy how they're using color here in the Project 86 videos as well to show that that's the differences there. So let's go ahead and look at these lyrics. Whew. 0 is the value of the binary. Design flaw, outdated, a failed experiment, an OS to be rewritten. Okay, so this is kind of going against what I was saying. 0 is the value of the binary, design flaw, outdated, a failed experiment, an OS to be rewritten. Because I sold you a voice to build the platform, to harvest the data that's locked inside your skin. Because I sold you a voice to build the platform, to harvest the data that's locked inside your skin. I might have to come back to that one. Command incumbents, install the simps, control perception through fear and spin, delete, discredit, the voice of dissent, command, control, delete. So that's that chorus, right? Oh, that's so crazy. So like we're commanding the people who have influence, right? We're commanding the people who have a say in how things go. We're controlling them, but we install the simps. So we're installing the people who are just going to listen to whatever, who are just going to do whatever people tell them to do, and just listen to the influence, right? So in turn, we're commanding everyone. But when you control the people in influence, or command the people in influence and tell them what to say and tell them what to do, and then they have their followers and their people who follow them, well, you basically have influence over everybody. So control perception through fear and spin, right? Same thing that happened with the virus, same thing that happens with conservatism and liberalism. There's always an enemy, right? There's always somebody to fight. There's always some other thing that we're fighting up against. So you control people through that fear and your spin on what fear is. Delete and discredit the voice of dissent, right? The people who disagree with you, just find a way to get rid of them. Find a way to get rid of them. Command, control, and delete. Oh, man. Mining your interests. Mining your tastes. Okay? Inventing the cure to devise the disease. Exploiting your need for consequence. But you were only a cipher. Okay, so mining your interests, mining your tastes. Marketing, right? Marketing. Have you ever noticed? So when you type something in on your phone, or you say something out loud, or you put your email through this mailing list or whatever, and all of a sudden, now you're getting marketed everything that you typed in on your phone, everything that you were saying around your phone or around your devices. You may not have even typed anything at all, but because your phones have recorders and they can record information, or because you're typing things in, or you're searching things on Google, or you're searching things on your Instagram or your Facebook, whatever it may be, they are mining your interests and they're just selling it to you. And part of that is feeding you the things that are going to get you fired up in this fear, fired up in your needs to have the things that you want. And so exploiting your need for consequence, but you were only a cipher. I might need to come back to that one too. You were only a cipher. You were only a means to an end. I think that's pretty much what that's saying. No eye has seen and no ear has heard. No mind has conceived the plans that we have in store for you. So I think that this is actually a play. I think that this is a play on words. I don't think he actually means what he's saying here. because we get all these images, right, of like bodies on the ground, right? We're getting all these images in the video of almost like Holocaust images. And like, I think that him saying, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has conceived the plans that we have in store for you. This is also a play on what the Bible says. There's a verse in the Bible in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9, that says that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no heart can truly know the plans that God has in store for those who love him. And so this story is basically relating that same kind of attitude of how Christians await what God has for them in heaven and what God has in store for them in heaven. And they're relating it to, well, you have no idea what we have planned for you. You have no idea what's in store for you if you just give up your humanity and become a part of the system. No eye has seen or heard, mind could conceive the plans that we have for you. Just give up your humanity, give up your vision, give up your truth, give up the truth really, and just accept this lie. But the truth is that we do know, and we have seen, and we have heard what happens when people give up their humanity. We have seen it, and we have heard of it in history stories of what happened in World War I and World War II, and we have seen this. And we have seen what happens when you just become a part of the system for the sake of unity and for the sake of peace and for the sake of things like communism and socialism and everything that was created out of that. So I think that line there where he's saying, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has conceived the plans that we have in store for you. And then, but we're being fed these images that are very similar to the Holocaust and stuff like that, that we actually have seen it. We actually do know what's in store. We actually know how this ends, and we don't want to go in that direction. We want to keep our humanity. We want to keep the truth. So continuing on in the song, you were only a cipher, you were only a glitch, you were only an OS to be written. Yeah, so your purpose, you were just a means to an end. Your humanity was only a way to understand the rest of humanity better, to be able to control it and do what the song says, command, control, delete, so that there could be this system. A system is nothing without its workers. A system is nothing without its simps. It's nothing without its parts. And so this is basically saying here, like, all you were was just, a means to an end and one small part of that system. You still can't see the things that I have been building, strings of regimes that stretch across the centuries. See? So continuing on with the song, we see that it's something that's been done before. The strings of regimes that stretch across the centuries to sew your eyelids shut in the name of progress. Woo! To sew your eyelids shut in the name of progress, built on the back of the myth of your consequence. Man. So again, just like, we've seen this before, and we know how this ends, and we know how this plays out. And but unfortunately, the simps and I'm not saying that in a mean way to anyone, but we do have to understand when we are being lied to. I have to understand when I'm being a simp for something. I have to understand when I'm being lied to and I'm following and believing in a lie and I'm becoming a part of some system that is taking away the truth and humanity out of me. And you have to do the same. So this is basically saying that you still can't see the things that I've been building. Use the strings of regimes that stretch across the centuries to sew your eyelids shut in the name of progress. You're not seeing it. And there's even things that I'm not seeing yet. So we have to admit that. We have to know that those things are still happening, and we may not know exactly what those things are yet, but they exist. And it's so cool. Like this is being said from the perspective of the person who is orchestrating this, right? And so I wonder if the person orchestrating this in this larger arc and story is like an antichrist character, or maybe just a antagonist kind of character that is wanting to unify people under this digital rapture kind of omni thing. So maybe it's not as grand as an antichrist, but maybe it's just the idea of control, the idea of creating a system where you control the masses. So either way, it's still really epic and it's still really crazy. But great lyrics here that are talking about that. One from the land and I from the sea. Oh, and you will bend the knee. Okay, so maybe it is Antichrist. Because that's definitely pulled out of Revelation. One from the land and I from the sea, and you will bend the knee. I am the need for you to be seen. Your rampant entitlement. You made the choice the moment you hit submit. Woo! And now you don't exist. Oof. You made the choice the moment you hit submit. And now you don't exist. Man, that is a line. And we do that every day, right? We do that every day when we submit our information, when we sign on to these digital subscriptions and we plug in our information, we hit submit. You're submitting yourself to these things. You're submitting yourself to your electronics. You're submitting yourself to your phone. You submit yourself to whatever you end up becoming a slave to. And it's so crazy. Just thinking back to that movie, Metropolis, how the workers looked, if you go back and you look up the movie, the workers looked like they were exactly a part of the machine, and they were moving like the machine. And to see how you can do it when you go outside. You go outside, you go to the store, you're going to see everybody with a phone. You're going to see everybody looking down at their phone and typing like this and just kind of moving almost digitally, right? Thumbs just like this, never looking up into reality, never talking to someone, never actually discussing things, never actually debating things. You just put out your tweet or your message, and then that's it. You know, you're just sending in these binary statements, and that's it. There's no discussion. There's no reality. There's no humanity. And so, like, that is what is going to happen in the end times. And we already know that. If you go and you read Revelation, I do believe that, like, one from the land and I from the sea. So he's speaking from the perspective of the beast, you know, like speaking from the perspective of that Revelation prophecy. And you will worship me. You will bend the knee. I am the need for you to be seen. Your rampant entitlement. We do know that in the end times there's going to be unity. There's going to be unity. And the people who believe in truth are going to be the ones who can't buy things. The people who believe in truth are going to be the ones who can't socially gather, who can't do a lot of the things that we experienced kind of in 2020. I'm not saying 2020 was a end times thing or anything, but it definitely did have the similar situations that will be there in the end times. There's going to be places you can't go if you don't have the mark of the beast. There's going to be you will be outcasted. You will be outcasted, and you will have to receive the mark and get rid of your humanity, like this video is showing, in order to become a part of the system if you want to live a peaceful and unified life with the rest of the world. And so for someone who believes in truth, for the believer, that's not what we want. That's not what we're called to. We're not called to just be in unity with the world. We're actually called to be in unity with Christ and what he teaches. And so if that means going against what everybody else is believing and doing, then that's what it means. And so, yeah, genius work here with all of these lyrics, you guys. Oh, it is so crazy. And I want to mention too, I don't know if I'll be able to put it on the screen or not, but Andrew Schwab and another co-host host a podcast called CEASEFIRE. And I think that this is just another arm of the things that Andrew is trying to show. Andrew Schwab is trying to bring out of him these internal thoughts about these issues in life. A lot of them are actually being discussed on this podcast called CEASEFIRE. And it's about taking different ends of these issues, right? Just like Metropolis, right? You had the lower classmen and the upperclassmen, but the enemy was the same, right? The enemy was the same. It was the system. And in life, we have the, conservatives, and we have the the progressives, or we have the Republicans and the Democrats, or we have the believers and the non-believers. And, you know, these are two sides of different disagreements, but what can we do to come together and discuss these things? What can we do to make sure that we're not just shooting back at each other and not making any progress and ultimately just causing more harm to ourselves? What can we do to actually lay down a foundation, cease fire, and discuss these things? And still, you know, still believe in what you need to believe in, still believe in truth. As believers, we believe that the Bible is true, and there's nothing that would compromise that in having a discussion with someone who doesn't believe that. There's nothing that compromises that in just doing your best to explain why you believe what you believe and where the Bible's coming from with a lot of the things that it's teaching. And so if we don't have that willingness to discuss, and that willingness to engage, and that willingness to be able to articulate with grace and truth the things that we believe, well, then we're just going to end up hurting the people that we're trying to reach. We're going to end up attacking the people that we're trying to love, and we don't want to do that. We want to be able to articulate things well. We want to be able to win people over, not through reasoning, but through truth and love, through truth and grace. And we do that through the way that we communicate, and we do that through being even willing to communicate. So I love that that's kind of the focus of that podcast, Ceasefire. And you see the war, you see the battle here in this song. That is what we are walking into, and that is what we are facing. So great job, Project 86. This song was amazing. Everybody go over to the actual video for this music video. Give it a thumbs up. Go comment and tell them what you thought about the song. If you want to tell me, you can leave it in the comments below. But yeah, guys, great job. Go to their website. Go pre-save their album or whatever you can do, because obviously this album is going to be epic. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then you can do me a huge favor. You can leave this video a thumbs up, you can hit the subscribe button, and you can hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when new videos arrive. And go ahead and leave me a comment below. What did you think about today's video? What are your thoughts, and what do you want to see next on the channel? And if you want to support me and what I'm doing here, one of the best ways that you can do that is to support my band, Classic Disaster. We've got a lot of fun things planned for 2023, so go ahead, follow Classic Disaster, follow Sanctify Studios, and go ahead and subscribe to the podcast Sanctify Radio. Till next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. Take care.